December the 4th, 2017 at 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. So we will ask first for the adoption of some minutes, the Committee of the Whole minutes of November the 20th, 2017, and the regular open minutes of November the 20th for adoption. Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you. Business arising from prior minutes. I first of all need a motion to bring a in-camera meeting, in-camera business out into the open meeting. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor King. All in favor? Thank you. And the motion is motion IC172-17, moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Rhodes, that Council not provide a location to homeless people to camp and or locate their belongings for the following reasons: a liability issue, a community impact. Providing space to homeless people to camp could enable an action that could further deteriorate their health if they remain outdoors. Future liability. Expectation of services from the town. Monitoring of homeless people and the area. Washroom facilities. Cleanup, maintenance of the area. And that was carried at the last meeting. I would just like to say that it's not... Council does not certainly disagree with people's right to camp outside if they so wish, but it's just not legally what we can do. We cannot provide these services. I'm sure Interior Health would have something to say about it too if we decided to take that on as the town. So we're certainly looking forward to having a committee. Perhaps a group that might step forward and look at dealing with homelessness. Thank you. Anybody else? No. Okay. Introduction of late items? No. There are none. So could we have a motion that the agenda of today's meeting be adopted, please? Councillor King, Councillor Campol, all in favor. Thank you. So next is delegations, and we have a special visitor here today. Our previous fire chief. We have you come up, sir. Today. So, Rick, we have something special here. Oh. No, we're not in the camera. I'm dressed so nice. Sure. We need to do the camera up here because Granicus needs to see this. So we just want to say thank you for your many years of working with the fire department. We hope you will continue, and for your 11 years as the chief. And we have a special thing for you to put up in your office, a picture of Vesuvius. Thank you. So thank you. Thank you very much. Can I have a hug? Yep. Thank you.
You have to open it, Rick.
Oh, you have to open it? Yeah. Sure. Mm-hmm.
I'll have to be cutting it all unscathed.
Yes, well, you can wrap it all up again. Yeah. Do you want to come back in the middle and put and yes.
All right.
And can you turn it this way too? It was wrapped up. We didn't like to unwrap it.
No, wrapping's out.
That's awesome. Beautiful.
Okay. What a beautiful picture of Vesuvius, and you helped to protect our town for many, many years. So we appreciate everything that you've done.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Thanks,
Rick.
Thanks. Sorry, but I have to run back.
Okay. Where are we at now? Okay, we have next is water matters, where we have none, no correspondence, no bylaws. So next is business number 1, contract for GIS Services. And is that Mr. Zackel?
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So before council is the contract renewal for GIS Services. This is a contract between the Town of Osius and RDOS for access to the RDOS internal mapping application, which expires December 31st, 2017. The Town of Osius has utilized the RDOS GIS Internet Mapping Services and has access to their Internet Mapping application for an annual fee. The service has been a valuable asset to the town staff, assisting both office and operations staff. There's been no increase for a number of years. However, this contract is now increasing to $2,933 for the years 2018 and 2019. This is an increase of $393. So options before council: to authorize the signing of the contract for GIS services between the RDOS and Town of Osius, and option 2, to discontinue the use of the service from the RDOS. Budget implications: the cost of the service will be paid through the water and sewer operating funds, and the increase of $393 is minimal. And the recommendation before council is to authorize the mayor and CEO to sign the contract for GIS services between the RDOS and the Town of Osius.
Thank you very much. Councillor Campol.
I'd like to move option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes is seconding that. So you said it's been a few years since we've had an increase in that.
Yeah,
Good.
it's maintained the same for quite some time.
Anybody else like to? All in favor? Thank you very much. That's carried. Next is the special and standing committees. Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. Each year, Mayor and Council appoints representatives to special and standing committees. A standing committee of Council is established and appointed by the Mayor for matters the Mayor considers would be better dealt with by committee, and at least half the members of the standing committee must be Council members. A select committee of Council is established and appointed by Council to consider or inquire into any matter and to report its findings and opinion to Council. At least one member of a select committee must be a Council member. Council reviewed the committee appointments at the Committee of the Whole meeting of November 20th, 2017. Council did not make any changes to the appointments from 2016. The 2017 schedule is shown in the options, and the appointments must now be formally adopted by resolution. Council appointments to the Okanagan Regional Library Board and RDOS are not included in this listing, as those appointments were made at the November 20th regular open meeting. Implications to the community: the community will benefit from council representation on the various special and standing committees. No organizational implications, no budget, and no significant dates. Sustainability: appointments should be made as soon as possible in order for the business of the committees to continue with little disruption. Options: 1, that council make appointments to committees as follows, and I won't read those all out, you have them in front of you, and 2, that you make changes to the committee appointments at this time. So,
thank you. Councillor Campol.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I'd like to move option number 1 as it's presented.
Thank you. Councillor King seconding that. I think we went through this at the last meeting, so no changes. So thank you very much. All in favor? Thank you. That's carried. And general net payroll and Sun Bowl Arena accounts, and to report on expenditures from accounts payable for council approval and payroll information for council to receive. General cash requirements of up to December the 4th, that's today, $725,311.29. Sun Bowl cash requirements of $14,494.84, and those would both be by consensus. And the net payroll accounts of $71,262.36, and that is received for information. Next is the community reports, and we have a Community Services Advisory Committee report here. I won't read it, but I see that Councillor King is part of this committee and was at the meeting. Is there anything you would like to add to this?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. There was one thing I found interesting at the end. I think it was at the end, yes, that you mentioned at the round table. You were you had asked about setting in place a bylaw about people jumping off the bridge. And having lived here for many, many years, it's certainly been one of the issues that we've had to deal with over the years. I remember one young man jumping off the bridge right onto a boat that was going underneath, and he was cut very badly because he jumped onto the windshield, which smashed. So there are signs up there on the bridge, but I think it's almost a rite of passage for kids, unfortunately. I'm not sure what we could do, but I think obviously it was worth bringing up.
Well, if I could just respond to that. We actually had quite a discussion at the table once it was brought up.
Yes.
And the people are very concerned about the children of our community and whether it would make any sense to try to create a bylaw around it or not, and that would give you some teeth to enforce it, or we just live with the danger of a kid jumping on a boat again.
I believe the fact that we have put signage up helps. Am I correct, Mr. Emenko?
Well, it's not us that has put up signage. It's the Ministry of Transport has put up signage because it's their bridge.
Okay, right.
And I don't know what our authorities would be to create a bylaw. Was there an action that came out of the discussion? I haven't seen the minutes.
No, there wasn't an action item.
No.
Yeah.
But I could take that back to the next committee, that it's the highway's responsibility.
Well, and
if you chose.
we could research the potential for that. Again, what the issue that you get is enforcement.
You're right.
And enforcement's the issue.
So I agree it's a rite of passage for sure, but it's also a numbers game. It's just a matter of time till a boat's coming under again and that happens. So is it motion or direction that needs to be given to have administration look into what our options are, it being highways?
Just make a resolution to providing direction to the administration to seek out the options.
So I would move that.
Okay, and would that go to Mr. Davis, because he's the one in charge of this committee?
And
okay.
And the Director of Corporate Services, they'd have to work together on it.
Sure, Community Services, okay.
Are
you seconding that?
For sure.
All in favor? Oh, did you want to speak to it first? Go ahead.
Wondered if I could hear the motion.
It was as Barry worded it, but if you could read it back.
Sorry.
Where are you there? The council directs staff to look into the authorities to implement a bylaw on the bridge to controlling the jumping off of the bridge.
Seems to me there are people that fish from the bridge too, and they I don't keep worrying about people going across on their bikes or walking, but I haven't seen that happen. It is a bit of a bottleneck. You're right. So, did you get that? Okay, go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Just a quick comment regarding that motion. We have been down this path before, and I believe that the authority does lie with the Ministry of Transport, and I don't believe that there was any authority from our part to put a bylaw in place. Just a couple other things I'd like to comment on. When you create a bylaw, sometimes that'll enhance the excitement of jumping off of that bridge. It might encourage more young people to jump off of it. It definitely is a rite of passage in our community. Having raised 3 kids in this community, every one of them have been on the front page of the newspaper doing crazy things off of that bridge. I mean, it's just the way it is. And the Ministry of Transport is in the process of looking at fixtures on the side of the bridge right now that will discourage people from jumping off. There's a netting process. I think we pitched them at UBCM about this about 5 or 6 years ago, and where that lies in their priority list, I have no idea. It's probably quite low on their list, but there's some devices that in larger centers that discourages suicide attempts and that kind of thing. So they were looking at a scaled down version on the south side of the bridge to discourage people from jumping off of it. And let's not jump all over our young children. There's lots of adults that partake in that as well. And
That's true.
I just hate moving forward with things like bylaws where there's would be zero opportunity to enforce it in our community. I mean, our bylaw folks in the RCMP have 1,000 other priorities that they will look after first. And so I don't know, I'm kind of in favor of the motion, but I'm not. So
I'm wondering if included in the motion would be just to look at the implications and perhaps suggest a letter of concern
We didn't ask for a bylaw.
No, it's
No.
more
Information.
understanding where we sit with our ability to enforce is what's interesting. Is if RCMP, I'm not suggesting we have RCMP officers stationed at the bridge. No, but I mean if RCMP are doing their routes and driving by and there's kids lined up to jump, that they can move them along, and what it would be, what steps we need to take to ensure that we can do that.
I think they already have that option because the signs are there, right, that say no jumping off the bridge. CJ?
Well, just because it's such a short meeting and I'm argumentative by nature, there will be no enforcement without a bylaw, so
Yeah.
we are kind of talking about that.
And the motion wasn't to bring a bylaw forward. The motion was to get some feedback if we could create a bylaw, or is the responsibility of transportation at this time. So we're a little ahead of ourselves talking about a bylaw.
Okay.
So have you changed it, Mrs. Hilson?
Well, if you're trying to hit the 20-minute mark for the meeting, you might want to keep arguing about this.
So you did see me glancing at the
Yes.
clock.
Yes.
Councillor Rhodes is right. What you're doing is you're exploring your legal authority to control, and the only way you can control is through bylaw. And so the motion would have to read, what is our legal authority to control, because you'd have to control under bylaw.
Let me ask this question then. Should an incident happen when someone's jumping off the bridge where they're injured, is there liability to the town?
I think as it sits right now, those liabilities are with the Ministry of Transport.
Can we confirm that?
Everybody gets
Because that would make a big difference on whether I'd be in favor of a bylaw or not.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons we steered away. We've gone to Ministry of Transport over the years and told them, it's your bridge, put up the appropriate signages. I think there's something in the Ministry of Transportation Act, actually, that prevents that it's illegal to jump off bridges. It's in the Motor Vehicle Act or something, and that's why Ministry of Transport has the authority to control the bridge.
Well, before we vote on this motion, if it's just creating work for admin with an outcome we all know is going to be the case, and it's not going to move us forward in any way, then I would attempt to defeat the motion. So if there's no benefit to moving forward, I've learned a lot since making the motion. And if the liability truly falls with highways, and any precautionary actions we take, whether it be signage, netting, whatever it is done through them, I'm not sure there's anything to look into anymore.
Yeah, the question I would have to find out, as soon as you ask Ministry of Transport to create a bylaw, does that we'd have to ask the lawyers, does that give us liabilities?
Yeah.
But I somehow recall a discussion with Ministry of Transport people, and there is something in provincial legislation that prevents that, makes it an illegal act to jump off a bridge.
Because we have enough to deal with now that I'm not looking to bring focus or a workload onto the subject. Can I rescind that motion, or does it have to be defeated?
Or could we change it slightly and just say that we look into, or have Ms. Van Vienen look into what the ramifications would be of sending them a letter stating our concerns about it and finding out any more information, not necessarily creating bylaw. I'm not sure. What would you?
Yeah, I'm not looking to create a bylaw this time. I'm just looking for that information that you just sort
How
of
can we,
spoke out to see what's factual.
Ms. Van Vienen, have you
Just
dealt with
report
this
back.
before? Because we have had kids jump off the bridge, and I just wondered, has this come up?
We have dealt with it before, but I would have to go back and get the former report that was done. As far as rescinding the motion, you should vote on it, and it's either going to be carried or defeated. You can't rescind it once it's been seconded.
All right, so the motion is that, I'm not quite sure you've changed it. So it's been moved and seconded.
The motion as stated is the council directs staff to look into the town's legal authority to implement a bylaw on preventing people from jumping off the bridge.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of that motion? Okay, so that's defeated. Now, is there anything else that or do we want to leave it? Councillor King, you were the one who brought it up in your
Exactly,
report.
and I
That's
don't know
why, yeah.
how to word it, but I'd be looking at some feedback from previous minutes to see what the real legalities are around jumping off the bridge. Something like that. I'm not looking for bylaw. I'm just looking for
Or
information.
what happened the last time.
Information.
Perhaps we could get
Okay,
Ms.
so-
Van Vienen to.
So a resolution to direct administration to bring back information to the next committee of the whole meeting
Okay.
on the legalities of or illegalities of jumping off the bridge.
Yeah, something that'd be
And
good.
some past history on how it was dealt with before. Okay, you all right with that, Councillor King?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. If somebody going to second that, I will. That we just asked for a report on this. All in favor? Okay, good. Thank you very much. So that was an extra 5.
Our next meeting's actually tomorrow.
Way to drag it out, guys.
Okay, so do I have to say that, okay, so we need a motion, please, that the Community Services Advisory Committee minutes be received. Thank you, Councillor King, Councillor Campol. All in favor? Thank you. Next is the CAO report.
Thank you, Madam Recorder. Just a few other things that the administration's been involved in the last couple of weeks and some program updates. First of all, starting community services. Upcoming programs include a guided snowshoe trek December 14th at Mount Baldy and a Christmas flower wreath program Saturday, December 9th. The winter leisure guide has gone out to print and will be available next week. And there's a couple more days available to people who have an interest in volunteering on the dog park development committee. So I think we've got a couple people who have expressed some interest. In terms of corporate services, work has been carried out on the transition of Destination Soyuz and Desert Sun and the lease on 8701 Main Street. The director attended a law seminar in Vancouver with the following topics: legalizing cannabis and things to consider, changes to the Building Act, water law, local government and human rights code, delegation of authority, and dealing with aggressive members of the public. Year-end reporting continues to be worked on. In terms of finance, pulling together the budget documents, which we'll be meeting this week on, and also preparing for the auditor's visit. In terms of public works, completed installation of the Christmas lights in preparation for light up. Also, work continues on the public works remodeling project. Myself continue the search for the new planning director, continue to work with the developer on Lakeshore Drive development, and followed up with the town hall assessment contractor, and there'll be the roof assessment person will be here on Wednesday, and the rest of the team will be here the following week to assess the viability of this building. So that's my report for today.
Thank you very much. Do we need a motion to accept? Okay, motion to accept the report. Thank you, Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes. All in favor? Thank you. And now, Councillor reports. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just really like to thank the Christmas Parade Committee, the town staff for all the lights they put up, all the merchants that were involved on the street, giving out candies and hot chocolate, and a special thanks to Rotary. They raised over $400 for the food bank. So again, thanks to everybody.
Good. Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Well, ditto Councillor King's comments. I think we started off with almost no entries last Thursday, and the mayor went out and pitched a bunch of the organizations and turned it into an awesome parade that was enjoyed by a lot of people. I would have to suggest one of the biggest Christmas crowds that I've seen in a long time. And the weather was good, and everything seemed to work out really good. It was a great time. I also wanted to mention that the new proposed dog park on the BMX site was discussed quite a bit in council at the last meeting, and we decided that we were going to strike a committee to work on the development of that park over the next little while. And we put an advertisement in the paper, and word of mouth went around. And I have to admit, I was very, very disappointed in the response. We had, as of last Friday, we had one applicant. But now I'm happy. We have 3. We had 2 more that came in today. The 3 people that have expressed interest in it look like great participants in it. One of them is actually a dog trainer and a lot of experience developing dog parks in Toronto, I think was on her resume that she sent in. Anybody that's listening, there was hundreds of people that came forward during that whole process. There was a petition that was struck in our town. There was lots of negative comments, lots of positive comments, and it was very, very controversial. I expected, 100 applicants on that committee. Maybe there's still a lot more coming in, but I'd really, really encourage anybody that has any interest in it to step up to the plate and help us through this process. It's going to be a good, positive amenity in our community when we're done, and how exciting to be a part of that process. So the advertisement, I think, will be in this week's paper again. It certainly is available on the town website, and almost anybody that has any knowledge about it. So get those applications in. It's going to be a fun time, and it just is going to be a great amenity in our community.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Councillor Campol.
On to the pass.
Okay. So I just, as a member of the Suis Festival Society, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody in town for making Christmas Light Up just a wonderful event. We tend to have people come forward to be in the parade at the last minute. We always are in a sweat a few days before, but we had some new entrants in the parade this year. We had Asuya Signs in there, who I believe won a prize. The Snowbirds did a fabulous job of putting together all kinds of vehicles in the parade. We had the Asuya's Physiotherapy. They came and they handed out candies and things to put on your sore wrists and everything else. I was so impressed with the parade, and it was really good, and we had 5 Asuya's volunteer fire trucks out, driven by firemen with all of the kids in the fire trucks, and they were so excited, and they had them decorated. We had the, our police chief, Sergeant Beta, out there at the front of the parade. It was really a good night, and I just want to thank everybody. The choir sang in front of Home Hardware, the school band played, the Rotary did hot dogs and cocoa, and the following day we had all kinds of kids and their parents come for breakfast at Troy's Grill and have pictures taken with Santa. I even snuck in and got one taken too. And then there was a craft fair that was very well attended. That was helped, the Asuyas Kiwanis did that. So it's a real community effort putting on this. I want to thank Mr. Stuckey for putting our parade information on his website. Every day last week, the Asuyas Times put articles in. We had people dressed up and wearing hats, although I must say that Councillor Campol broke the reindeer horns. However, we had to throw those out, but we'll get new ones for him for next year. Anyway, thank you to everybody for making that a really special weekend. And the other thing I want to say, we do have another another council meeting before Christmas, so it would be on the 18th. But I just want to encourage everybody to shop locally. We have some new businesses in town that have opened up. I think it's a baby's wear store that everybody seems to be excited about on Main Street. Boston Pizza has opened up, and they can't keep the food in there fast enough, because every time I've gone by, or I took Santa in the other night, and it was absolutely packed. So shop locally, visit the local merchants, support your community, and it just looks great in town. All the lights, all the decorations and the festivities. So thank you to everybody for doing that. And that's the end of this meeting. So could I have a motion, please, to adjourn the meeting? Thank you, Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes. All in favor. Thank you very much.